Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Well, Runcam has a brand new FPV camera on the market called the Runcam WASP, and it's digital. So all of you people who own something like these DJI FPV goggles version 1 or 2, it works with that quite well. The reason this new camera exists is because technology has improved. So they've taken the old cameras that we had before and basically they've made this one 120 frames per second shooting back to the pilot in the goggles, and you get it for about the price of one that shoots back at 60 frames per second. This is what the company tells me. They also tell me that this new Runcam WASP has very low latency, so that's pretty decent for the FPV hobby world. And not only that, if you want to fly at night, it has super awesome low light abilities. Let me see. Oh, the sun's coming out. This is pretty good. So it's not nighttime now, but I do have one problem because look over there. Behind me, there is kids running all over the place. I don't like to fly around kids, or people that is, because you know things could go possibly wrong. Anyways, I have taken the Runcam WASP and I stuck it not in an FPV drone, which I normally do. I stuck it instead in the Zod, and it is designed to put cameras up front as well as FPV cameras. So you see I have the Runcam little antenna right there that it comes with. And in the front right here is the camera. It's sticking out right there. So I can fly this, put my little FPV goggles on wherever they are on the ground here and fly around that way. Only problem is today is with all these little kids here, if you fly FPV when there's people on the ground, you really can't see anything unless you point at the ground to see where those humanoids are. So what I might do is put the record on here and just fly it around line of sight with my eyeballs, but everything's recorded back here. So if you're not familiar with goggles, FPV goggles, or you're not in the FPV hobby, the reason video comes back to your goggles is so you can control your FPV drone or your RC plane or whatever you put the camera on and do it first person view. It's not designed to record cinematic video because it records in here. It doesn't record on the camera right here. So it sends the signal back to your goggles. So basically I'm just recording what my eyeballs see, and it's not going to be in super high resolution. And if this little Zod is flying through the air and it's doing this all over the place, flopping all over the place, well then that's what my video does as well. There's no gimbal on there or anything like that. So the video you're going to see is just to show you how the picture actually looks in your goggles, what you actually see. It's supposed to be a 4:3 format, so it's not 16:9, so you get a full screen, which a lot of people like 4:3. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you what comes in the box. I'm going to show you how I stuck it in the Zod, just in case you want to stick it in something else you own. You can put it on an RC car if you want, you know, an RC boat, anything like that. Whatever you would like to do, you could do the same thing I did to stick it in the RC plane. And at the same time as we're flying here and I'm showing you the video, I'll post some specs on the screen. All right, let's go. This is the box the Runcam WASP comes in, and when you open the box you can see that it is well packaged. The first thing I noticed was how large the camera is compared to other cameras on the market. As an example, the camera on the right is a Runcam digital camera, and it's about the size of most digital FPV cameras. And as you can see, the WASP camera on the left is much larger. Now the main body of the Runcam WASP is of an average size, however you cannot put a micro SD card in it. The next item in the box is a wire connection diagram. And the final few items would be your antenna, some mounting screws, and a cable to connect it to a flight controller on an FPV drone. Here I'm soldering a positive and negative cable to the unit so I can attach a 2-cell LiPo battery. I'm also attaching the included antenna before I power it on. Next, I secure the Runcam into the Zod using double-sided tape. As you can see here, I've placed the camera looking out the forward section, and I've placed the antenna on top. Alright, so let's go flying. So to launch the Zod, I have to throw it with my right hand while using my left hand to operate the radio. Now it was only after reviewing the video from the Runcam that I realized that the Runcam was overheating, and I also left it in low power mode. I goofed up. I should have changed the settings in the goggles, and I should have ventilated the Runcam better so that it cooled itself while flying. So as my RC plane was flying, well, the camera was getting hotter and hotter and not getting sufficiently cool, so because of that it stayed in low power mode and you get blotchiness on the sides of the screen. So if you ignore the pixelation on the sides of the screen, well then the image doesn't look half bad after all for a 720p image. Now keep in mind you can place this FPV camera on pretty much anything in the RC hobby or even outside the RC hobby. You just power it with a 2-cell battery or higher and it works great. Going over the features of the camera, it shoots at 120 frames per second in 4:3 format. It is also claimed to have extremely low latency. The field of view is slightly larger than that of the original DJI FPV Air unit. Since it has 8 channels, it means 8 drones could occupy the same airspace at the same time without interference. It's also compatible with the DJI FPV remote. Now if you're thinking of buying this unit, check out the dimensions first just to make sure it's going to fit. These are the advertised specifications. Here we have a comparison video of the original DJI FPV Air unit on the left compared to the Runcam WASP on the right. You'll notice that the image of the Runcam on the right hand side of your screen is slightly brighter and has a slightly wider field of view. If you use this camera at night, you will need street lights, parking lights, or some bright source, or else you won't see much. Alright, time to bring our Zod in for a landing. Now if you have questions on the Runcam WASP, by all means post them below and I'll get back to you with the answer. If you'd like to buy this product, I've placed a link below. You can go check it out and see if it's for you. It's really not that expensive. You can buy the camera by itself or the entire unit. And that brings me to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and I'll catch you in future videos with many more product reviews. Until then, I say bye!